East meets West in an instant classic between two giants and a bottom-of-the-barrel showdown. Welcome to All Talk, All USL Talk USL, covering all the latest scores, news, and developments in the second highest division of the United States men's professional soccer system, the USL Championship. I'm your host, as always, Vince Galvano. It's episode number 24. It's match day 23, and what a match day we had. Some instant classics, talking Louisville taking on Sacramento Republic. That'll be our little match day spotlight of today's episode. In addition, we had El Paso taking on Miami FC. Don't forget about the bottom of the table, the two worst teams in their respective conferences going at it. Top of the table, bottom of the table, East meets West. Oh, baby. Really, really fun matches to cover. A bit of transfer news. We'll cover, as always, the last goal. That was the goal of the week for last match day. In 22, we'll preview what's ahead in the USL. And man, oh man, so much to talk about. As always, if you're liking the show and you haven't rated it yet, don't forget on the podcast platform you're listening to, make sure to give a nice rating to Talk USL. And if you're interested in following me anywhere on social media, it's at Talk USL. And if you want to write me an email, I would love to hear from you. Your listening habits, how you found out about the show, what you like about the show, what you want to see more of, what maybe you can see as an improvement of an aspect. Reach out to me at talkuslchampionship@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you. All right, let's get into the show. Starting first with the goal of the week last time around. It was Edwin Lazo of FC Tulsa. On August 3rd, 2024, the Colombian midfielder thundered home a strike from almost 40 yards out into the top right corner to get a nod, that's right, from ESPN's Sports Center, while the finish also stood as the winner in Tulsa's first victory in club history on the road in San Antonio. Oh, we love when USL makes the Sports Center. We had that beautiful halfway strike from Juan David Torres way back a couple months ago. Now Edwin Lazo getting on the nod from ESPN Sports Center. Was a thunderbolt of a strike. You should definitely check it out in his game against San Antonio, giving FC Tulsa the lead. We'll talk about FC Tulsa. They really changed their ways from their opening couple of games in the USL to be, try to earn a playoff berth this year in the USL. We'll talk about that when we cover their game for match day 23. Just a bit of transfer news before we get into the showdown between Louisville and Sacramento. El Paso and Colorado Springs switchbacks. They were switching back and forth, trading some players here. This announced August 8th from USLChampionship.com source Nicholas Murray. Colorado Springs switchbacks acquired forward Justin Dillon from El Paso Locomotive FC and transferred defender Wahab Akwe to El Paso. Transaction details confidential, pending league and federation approval. But Justin Dillon, a consistent goal scorer with an average of one goal every 228 minutes, is also known for his playmaking skills. Since 2017, he is one of 17 players in the championship with over 40 goals and 20 assists. A potential partnership with Ronaldo Damas should be exciting to watch. Meanwhile, on the other side of things for El Paso, trying to really foment the defensive side of things, Wahab Akwe, prior to joining the Toros, Akwe previously competed in the championship for the New York Red Bulls 2 and Loudoun United FC. He has made 77 appearances overall in his career in the league, logging over 6,000 minutes of action. So plenty of experience in the USL Championship for Wahab Akwe. He also came on in that El Paso game against Miami as a substitute making his debut. So very cool things. That was a bit of just the transfer news that came out this week. Let's switch over to the big one. Louisville taking on Sacramento Republic. This was on ESPN2. Man, oh man, going into this one, on one hand, you had Louisville City in its bid to set a record for home victories in a USL Championship regular season, having won 9 out of 10 at Lynn Family Stadium to start the year. And then on the other hand, you have Sacramento Republic FC within a result of equaling the championship's longest regular season road undefeated streak. Man, oh man, what a great spectacle to put on ESPN2. Lou City, 9 out of 10. They put up 37 goals at a plus 24 goal differential at home this season. It's got Lou City in his prime position to claim the Players' Shield at the end of the season. We'll see. Meanwhile, Republic 6-0-4 on the road. That's the exact record. Undefeated in 11 away games. 6 shutouts and only allowing 6 goals in its travels. Crazy. So when these teams met a season ago at Sacramento's Heart Health Park, it turned out to be a 5-0 rout for Republic FC, the first time Lou City had conceded 5 goals in the USL Championship. But now back on home turf, you think head coach Danny Cruz's side is up for some payback. Well, let's get into it. An instant classic, like I said, almost 9,000 in attendance as well. And we got a 7-goal thriller. 6 goals only conceded for Sacramento on the course of its road in the season so far. 4 goals conceded here against Louisville City. They would fall 4-3 on the road to Louisville. Let's break this down. In the 8th minute, Wilson Harris curls his run beautifully to the left on the possession offense from the goalkeeper for Lou City. And then it was just 3 passes. And Jake Morris, give him credit, takes a touch on receiving and passes to midfield inside. Harris doesn't even need to break his stride. Morris finds his feet perfectly. Harris one-on-one with Donovan. With confidence, he switches over to the right and drills one. Bottom left against a Danny Vitiello, who's, mind you, leading on clean sheets in the USL this season with 10. Dumbfounded. He was not expecting the shot, especially there to that corner. I think he was maybe expecting a curler. And just like that, in opening 10 minutes, Louisville take the lead. 3 passes to get from the goalkeeper to Harris up the field so quickly, just piercing through Sacramento's lines very nicely. 20th minute, though, Sacramento trying to get back into this game. Kieran Phillips is denied by Las. Beautiful left-handed palm save. That was really the only noteworthy thing from the first half, but my oh my, were we in for something special, a treat of a second half. It starts right off the get-go. 46-minute Taylor Davila, not even a minute into the second half, charges up the midfield. After Harris, he finds Serrano running into the box. Serrano knows where to put it, and Davila with his left inseam, finding the bottom left of the corner. Again, nothing Danny Vitiello could do about that. 2-0 Louisville. Just like that. It looks like, man, oh man, it's going to be a victory for Louisville. Stop right there. Sacramento, 52nd minute. Corner goes short. Played into the far side of the box. There's a weak shot. Sacramento player, but it makes its way into the scramble. Bounces toward Nicholas Ross, who fires a half volley. Straight pass. Las to make it 2-1. Cut the deficit in half. And 3 minutes later, Sacramento winning the ball in the midfield. Immediately going up the right side of attack, which was so exposed. Jack Gurr makes a nice overlapping run, plays a low cross as Sacramento players are gunning it into the box, and boom, there is Kieran Phillips making it a double for Sacramento. 2-2, we're all level, and just like this, 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes later, Sacramento, Jared Timmer finding Jack Gurr beautifully into space on the right side. He drills it across, and this time it was Nicholas Ross on its way, and he makes it 3-2 for Sacramento, scores his second goal of the night. I have to say, Jake Morris was great in the first half, but he just looked all out of sorts and exposed in the second. Amadou Dia would come on for him in the 62nd minute, so good for Danny Cruz for realizing that change. But it's, credit to both sides because they were so aggressive. There was no, like, hey, let's we got the lead, we can come back, we can sit back. No, they wanted to go for the jugular. They're going straight for the throat. And man, oh man, Sacramento with a comeback of the ages to make it 3-2. 3 unanswered goals from Lou City. And it's looking like maybe Sacramento's going to walk away with the victory here. 66th minute, Dylan Mares has oceans of space. He finds Jansen Wilson, who's kept onside by Jack Gurr. Wilson lets the ball run a bit in front of him. And then while Gurr is closing him down from the left side, Wilson just puts it right in the direction where he's coming from, slows down Gurr to a standstill pretty much. Wilson puts it on his left so nicely and absolutely rockets one in the back of the net from the top of the box. We're all level now, 3-3. Louisville making it level in the 66th minute. A minute later, it's the opposite side of the box. Pretty much, really opposite side here. Harris gets onto it. He puts it on his left. He's going to try to curl it. Far post deflects off the knee of Donovan. Sails over, looping over Danny Vitiello. It's going to hit the back of the net. No. Hits the crossbar. Bounces out. So close. Craziness right there. Could have been 4-3 just like that. such just back-to-back-to-back goals. Back-to-back goals. It was a goal and then a crazy action happened right after a goal. Madness at Lynn Family Stadium. 84th minute, you're asking yourself, hey, where the heck is Danny Vidiello, this goalkeeper that's been so astonishing so far? Well, Perez, substitute, finds it on the right side. He hits an outside of the boot. Quaresma, if you know Ricardo Quaresma, the former Portuguese player, really good with hitting the ball on the outside of his foot. You can take a look at all those YouTube videos of him. But he does it now. Adrian Perez finds it so nicely. Neil McCabe, who's also a substitute, finds himself in the box. A beautifully, perfectly timed header straight to Danny Vidiello, who's in a great position. He's able to get a palm at it. The velocity of this header going straight into his palm. Really nice highlight save there from the Sacramento goalkeeper. 93rd minute, by the way, now. 4 minutes of stoppage time. We have less than a minute to go. There's a drop ball in the corner. The referee almost assists McCabe so nicely. He just plops the ball down at the bounce. McCabe hits it in the volley, looping to the back post. And Harris, he gets a foot on it. Not so great. He's off balance. It just kind of goes in front of him, but there's a cluster in the box, and it makes its way to Sean Tosh, who looks like he's going to shoot it, but he uses deception so well. Does a back heel roll. And Harris is there to fire it home from point-blank range to give Lou City all 3 points in a 4-3 thriller. Last-minute goal. One of the games of the season on ESPN2, USL, never short of goals on these national networks. Let me tell you something. Give us more exposure. Give USL more exposure when they're putting on instant classics like this. If you haven't watched the game, check out the highlights. I'm telling you, it's something to remember for a long, long time. A really stunning second half. Credit to all those in attendance. They must have loved it. The field pretty much soaked. Not the nicest of nights, we can say, or what was leading up to it, but still didn't matter. And it didn't matter. The game turned out to be something of a spectacle. All right, that was a bit of my take on that, breaking it down. Some of the really great goals in that one. 7-goal thriller. Lou City looking high and mighty. That match, that victory in itself, putting them still at the top of the table with 22 games played, 50 points. Meanwhile, for Sacramento, they actually are now tied on points with Oakland Roots in the Western Conference. We'll take a look at some pre-weekend fixtures because we had a couple midweek fixtures. Detroit City and Pittsburgh going at it. Coming into this one, Pittsburgh won 1-0. The winning strike by Edward Kitsa was his team leading fifth this season and his second in 3 matches. While the team has scored 10 goals in the past 4 games leading into the game against Detroit City, only 11 in the first 18. Defensively, the Hounds have also moved all the way up to 3rd in the league in goals allowed per game, with only Sacramento and Charleston bettering the Hounds mark of 1. It's 22 allowed in 22 matches. Yeah, Pittsburgh really, steadying the ship, and I noticed this right away from Bob Lilly. It's what you can expect, some that practical pragmatism from him to really steer and steady those ships nicely. And Pittsburgh are a tough team to break down because of it. Detroit, fresh after drawing Rhode Island last minute on national television CBS, also entering the lowest scoring matches being their norm at just 26 goals scored and 23 allowed. Between that and the series history between the two sides, 3 draws and 6 all-times meetings, and no team scoring 3 goals in any of those matches. It's no surprise the bookmakers rate the match the most likely of a championship weekend to end at a 0-0 draw. And if you knew this, and if you can bet, I don't know if you can bet on USL. I tried it, by the way, when I was back home on FanDuel, on DraftKings, but wasn't able to. But man, you could have pegged this down to a 0-0. I mean, Maxi Rodriguez remaining the focal point of Detroit offense, team high 7 goals, 3 assists. He has scored twice in 6 meetings with the Hounds, and goalkeeper Nathan Steinwasser continuing to be among the best in the league despite his numbers sliding slightly this year from previous seasons. Detroit City FC, by the way, in this one, have not won a game since June 30th, while Pittsburgh have not lost since July 7th. They're undefeated in the last 5, about 7,000 in attendance at Keyworth Stadium, but nothing really noteworthy. They share the spoils here. It's a 0-0 draw. I know on one of the popular shows, USL All Access on SiriusXM, they were talking about Detroit maybe slipping out of the playoff berth this year. I don't think so. I am going to say that Detroit, for me, will still manage probably in that 8th spot, maybe 7th, to stay in that sort of. Right now, they find themselves 7th place. You have Loudoun United, you have North Carolina, Rhode Island. Those teams around there, Pittsburgh making its way in. I still see them making it. We'll see what happens. Indy 11 taking on Rhode Island. This was one of the other midweek matches. Indy bounced back in solid fashion with a 1-0 victory over Rhode Island. Remember, they fell 5-0 to Charleston, while 8,000 in attendance at Michael A. Carroll Stadium. Indy 11 delivering an impressive performance, to end the longest active unbeaten streak, 8 matches in the USL Eastern Conference. With the victory, the boys in blue 10-7-5, sole possession of 4th place in the Eastern Conference, 35 points. Indy 11 forward Sebastian Guenzati providing the game-winning goal in the 34th minute. Off an assist from Lawrence Wooten. It was Guenzati's 4th tally this season and his 74th career goal in the USL, moving him to a tie 5th on the all-time list. Wooten recorded his first assist of the season after entering the match in the 15th minute as an injury replacement for Cam Lindley. Indy keeper Hunter Sulte recording his 5th clean sheet of the season with 4 saves, including 3 in the second half. Sulte making the save of the night in the 76th minute off a header from Frank Nodarcy toward the bottom left corner, swatting it off the line. The only save of the first half by Sulte was a spectacular diving stop off a Mark Doyle shot in the 17th minute. 1-0 for Indy 11, 3 points for Indy 11. That was from Jay Gentry of Indy11.com. So some low-scoring midweek fixtures, and we'll get on to talking about FC Tulsa taking on Orange County. Prior to this one, let's talk about FC Tulsa. I mean, after a remarkably strange offseason, suddenly undefeated in its last 4 games, sitting 2 points out of a playoff position with 3 games in hand on the 2 teams directly above it in 9th place. Off-season changes. This, by the way, featured in the Rondo USL newsletter. Let's talk about how strange this Tulsa offseason was. 2 of the, heralded signings the club made in the final week of December, talking Charlie Adams. Also the first week of January, Jeremy Kelly. They never made an appearance in Tulsa before departing for new clubs. There was also a departure of former head coach Blair Gavin after both of these signings and others were made. So with Gavin gone, Tulsa brought in Mario Sanchez from Louisville, Racing Louisville FC organizations to lead the way. That ushered in some additional new faces, saw others who it felt like would be pivotal to the club's potential success head out, notably Justin Portillo transferring to Sacramento. Talk about Nate Worth transferring to Tampa Bay Rowdies. But, this left Tulsa looking like a club trying to figure out a new direction on the fly. And it reflected in the side's results. Sanchez's squad winning only twice in its first 11 league games before things started to turn around. Now it's taken 4 wins and 15 points from its last 8 games to shift back into the playoff picture. You can say the turning point for Tulsa came on June 8th when the side took a 2-1 victory at home to San Antonio. Things amped up further this past Saturday when the side completed a regular season sweep over the 2022 title winners in a 3-1 win at Toyota Field. That marked the first time Tulsa had ever won in San Antonio, and if you recall, Edwin Lazo highlighting the win with a goal that needed to be seen to be believed, also featured on SportsCenter. That's just from the Rono newsletter by Nicholas Murray. But this one ending 0-0 between FC Tulsa and Orange County, so still continuing the unbeaten streak. Johan Peñaranda, the 24-year-old United States international, registering his 5th clean sheet in between the pipes for FC Tulsa. 5 saves on the night. Average so far this season has been 3.38 per 90. So a bit 2 more saves than the usual for Johan Peñaranda. And then Colin Shuttler on the other end, he gets his 6th clean sheet this season, returning to action after not playing since July 14th against Tampa. In that game against Tampa, he also registered a clean sheet. So back-to-back clean sheets for Colin Shuttler, but with a name like that, that's what you can really expect. Really cool stuff there. And now let's get into the weekend fixtures. And I'm talking the bottom of the barrel showdown between El Paso and Miami FC. Mind you, El Paso have not won at home at all so far this season. A great opportunity here against Miami. Also, mind you, Miami conceded the most goals so far this season, while El Paso have scored the least. I mean, if you were a fan of either side, you would have to be tuning into this one to just try to get some 3 points, trying to get something, some dignity. See what happens. The Locos will be on the front foot offensively throughout the night for the majority, forcing Miami to play back in an attempt to keep El Paso out. Mid-season acquisition Robert Coronado would open the seal just before the break, tapping in a pinpoint cross from Lucas Stauffer from the corner. Some great shots from distance in this one. El Paso in the lead early on in the midst of the first half. I was going to say some great shots from distance in this one, which meant some really nice acrobatic saves from Ndiaye, the Senegalese. That's right, Senegalese goalkeeper making his return to the 11 since May 19th. That was the last time he covered Miami, by the way, in the matchday spotlight on their road trip to Phoenix. He made 6 saves on the night, pulling in a 7.1 rating despite the loss against El Paso. El Paso, that's right, making it a double from Armando Moreno in the second half. By the way, not too long after his beautiful bicycle kick attempt that just sailed wide, he had a smile on his face after that one. It just seemed like Armando would be due for a goal. In the 66th minute, it would happen. He'd find the ball on the left side, and one-on-one with the stretched out Ndiaye, he just kind of scoops it off the curl over his head, assisted by Robert Coronado, by the way, too. So it's 2-0 here. Miami just struggling to play out of the back. It was slow, wasn't crisp enough. Movement off the ball was poor. Trying to play out of the back, just struggling. And, El Paso stuffed them out more than on one occasion in this one. But after the 2-goal deficit, they started pushing forward, coming close on a corner. And then Luizinho would get the ball from and with space in front of him, calculating a shot from outside the box that would just rattle the far post and then make its way into the net, smacking the other bottom post. A really nice shot from Luizinho to give Miami some consolation in this one. El Paso Locomotive, though, would walk away as the victors, their first home win of the season, putting an end to an 11-match home winless streak, first time since September 2023. Coronado registering his first goal for Locomotive, and it's the first goal he has scored since June 8th, 2024, when he was with Central Valley Fuego FC. Armando Moreno scoring his team-leading 6th goal of the season, snapping a 6-game scoring drought. And the new signing, we talked about him, Wahab Akwe from Colorado, making his Locomotive debut, coming on as a second-half substitute. So yeah, Miami still with the most goals conceded with 55 this season. El Paso scoring only 18 so far this season. Moving on elsewhere, Pittsburgh taking on San Antonio after falling 3-1 against FC Tulsa last Saturday night. San Antonio has dropped 18 points from winning positions this season. In its title-winning season of 2022, it dropped only 2 points from winning positions. So a bit contrast there. This one, Highmark Stadium, Pittsburgh at home, in front of about 5,000 fans, a little bit over 5,000 fans. You guessed it, Pittsburgh, 0-0 against San Antonio. This one, I think only one shot on target. And Pat Hogan, the center back for Pittsburgh, getting the 8.0 rating with 74 touches and a 75% tackle success rate, 3 out of 4 tackles on the night for him. Back-to-back 0-0 draws for Pittsburgh. These two teams share the spoils. Shifting attention to Charleston, taking on Memphis. Prior to this one, on Charleston's side are former Memphis coaches Ben Pierman, Devin Rensing, and players like Chris Allen, Mark Segbers, Aaron Malloy, and Graham Smith. It'll be something to keep an eye out on how that familiarity plays a role on Saturday. After sending 5 goals out past Indy last Friday, Charleston became the first team in the league in history to record 2 5-goal second-half performances in a single season. Goalkeeper Adam Grinwis is available for the selection again after completing his 1-match suspension for the red card picked up in the match against Tampa Bay Rowdies in week 21. Additionally, though, goalkeeper Christian Garner returns to Greenville Triumph Soccer Club following the conclusion of his short-term loan. While deputizing for Grinwis against Indy, Garner posted the Battery's league-leading 12th shutout of the year. So he's back to Greenville. All right, now, in terms of this one, 4 goals to the good, but 3 for Charleston and 1 for Memphis. But, what's most noteworthy here is he had a red card in the 37th minute, second yellow card to Lucas Turchi. He had a handball that just, on the break, fast break, really nicely done from the attacker of Charleston just to switch over, hits his hand, and yeah, unfortunately, Memphis played this one a man down for most of it. In the 41st minute, a couple minutes after that red card, it's Marcanic. That's right, who else but Nick Marcanic making his 21st goal of the season. He controls it nicely off the chest, and then hits it with his left foot. Great cross from Torres, and yeah, keeper didn't have his feet set. It was a great placement shot from him, and Charleston go 1-0 into the lead into the first half conclusion. Second half, though, we pick up 50th minute. It's Samuel Correga left-footed shot from the center of the box to the bottom right corner. That was assisted by Sissoko, so it's 1-1. We're all level. And then it's MD Myers who gets on the end of a pass across the box from Nick Marcanic. He rifles it quite strongly in the center of the goal to make it 2-1. In the 72nd minute, Jay Chapman, former Hartford player, comes on as a substitute. He finds Juan Torres on the right side of the field on the sideline. Really nice switch of play. Torres will get on to his left, rifle it to the bottom right corner. Keeper for Memphis can't get his hand on it, and it's going to be 3-1, and that's the way it'll end. 3 goals for Charleston, 3 points as well. North Carolina taking on Colorado Springs Switchbacks at WakeMed Soccer Park. North Carolina took 12 shots, 7 on target, had 5 big chances in the match, while holding Colorado Springs to just 2 shots on target and no big chances, according to FOTMob. The promise of a big night began early with a brilliant look just 5 minutes in. Ezra Armstrong built up the left flank, played Anderson in beyond the defense, but Anderson's shot was stopped at point-blank range by Christian Herrera to keep things scoreless. Anderson had 7 shot attempts, his highest output of the season so far. Anderson, though, would strike first as well in the night to get the home side on the board in the 40th minute when he got his head on a recycled entry from a corner from Mikey Maldonado to redirect past the keeper and give North Carolina the lead. It was Anderson's 5th goal of the season. The assist was the 2nd of the season for Maldonado and marked his 3rd straight match with the goal contribution. And then just a minute into the second half, North Carolina FC doubling the advantage when Anderson chipped the keeper, forcing defense to scramble to clear the ball off the line, but the rebound found Evan Conway slotting it home for his team-leading 8th goal of the season. Colorado Springs, though, responding in the 58th minute when Malik Foster angled in from the left wing and beat Jake McGuire near post to half the lead. Anderson, though, restoring the 2-goal advantage when Jaden Servania laced a perfect through ball to put him 1-on-1 with the keeper, and this time he slid past to secure his first brace of the season. Rodrigo da Costa added the exclamation point in added time as Servania dealt him the assist, which would be his 2nd assist of the night for Jaden Servania. Anderson's brace gives him 30 goals in league play with North Carolina FC, tying Tai Shipolani for the club record. Shipolani, though, still holds the all competitions record. Saturday was the 7th straight home league fixture for North Carolina FC that has earned at least a point, and DaCosta's goal was his 50th for his career in the USL Championship. That from NorthCarolinaFC.com. A couple of more games to cover, starting here with Rhode Island, picking up, I should say, with Rhode Island taking on Hartford. Identical goals for Rhode Island in each of the halves. Starting in the 29th minute, it's Quizera on the set piece. It was interesting because Holstad would grab the ball. It would be 2 players over the direct kick, him and Quizera. So Holstad would grab it, pretend like he's taking it. He put the ball down. As soon as he put the ball down, Quizera crossed it into the box. Grant Stoneman would find the header in the 29th minute to give Rhode Island the lead. And then in the beginning of the second half, it's Frank Nadarcy. Same thing. It was Noah Fuson this time with the assist. So again, Holstad putting it down. And then Fuson would take it, finding Nadarcy 2-0. And then the last goal of the night, in stoppage time, you have to see it to believe it, which was crazy. It was a throw-in on the close side, broadcast side over here, where the cameras were. Morris Duggan, number 6 for Rhode Island, throws the ball in, and his right foot is clearly on the field. He wasn't like he took it in the confines of the sideline. He took the throw in, half his body was on the field. Referee didn't see it. It eventually makes its way to the end line. Albert Dikwa has it, and he plays it across to Joseph Brito to a disinterested. That's right. Hartford looked absolutely disinterested. They were just waiting for that final whistle. An absolute shambles, not caring at all. And yeah, doesn't matter. If you want to complain about it, it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the game. Rhode Island, 3 goals to the good and 3 points as well. Monterey Bay taking on Birmingham Legion FC, 3 points ripe for the picking as Legion FC heading to the Pacific Coast. In this one, having grabbed 7 points in its last 4 home matches, while Monterey Bay FC went winless at Cardinal Stadium with a pair of draws in July. That was a catalyst to the team shaking up its coaching staff. You recall, head coach and sporting director Frank Yallop, after 3 seasons, was relieved of his duties. The ensuing hire came this past Tuesday with the club naming Jordan Stewart as its new head coach. It marks the first head coach job for the former San Jose Earthquakes assistant, as well as the longtime English Premier League defender, which can maybe throw in a wrench to the game plan for Monterey Bay. Maybe give Monterey Bay the boost it needs to get some 3 points here. But a little bit about Jordan Stewart. He's primarily looked at in terms of playing the Premier League back in the late 90s, going into the early aughts with Leicester City. In the campaign, specifically 2003-2004, making 25 appearances for Leicester City, as well as registering a goal. He would then transfer over to Watford a couple of years later, back into the Premier League for the 2006-2007 season, making 31 appearances for Watford in that season, as well as registering 3 assists. So, yeah, has plenty of games in the Premier League, over 110 appearances for Leicester City over the course of a couple seasons, as well as registering over 100 appearances for that Watford side in the mid-2000s. Very cool to see there, some Premier League experience coming into the league, hopefully steering Monterey Bay into a better direction. 33rd minute, though, this is where the game would get interesting. It would be Monterey Bay conceding the first goal of the night. Kobe Hernandez Foster shooting a rifle to the bottom right corner, off the post and in, many off the post and in this week in the USL. And then we had in the 48th minute, potential goal of the week from Stefano Pino. He somehow gets the ball at the top of the box. It's bouncing towards him. He touches it in the air over the defender's head and then volleys it beautifully. Great technique, gets level with the ball. Even just both legs kind of come off as well. When he volleys it with his left, his right leg comes off the ground. Rifles past the goalkeeper for Monterey Bay. 2-0 for Birmingham Legion. What a goal by Stefano Pino. Monterey Bay would cut the deficit in half on the hour mark with Tristan Traeger having a nice right-footed shot from the center of the box to the bottom left corner. That was assisted by Maury Donor. And then a red card for Alex Crognale in the 71st minute, 11 minutes later, but it still would not prove to be enough. Birmingham hold on for all 3 points here on their trip to the Pacific Coast, and it's a first defeat for Jordan Stewart as the head coach now for Monterey Bay FC. Oakland Roots taking on Loudoun United in front of a capacity crowd of 3,500. This one would end 3-1 in favor of the host. Mark Velashvili with 2 assists in this one. Babukar Njie would get the goal-scoring start in the 24th minute, and Mark Velashvili would find him playing it across the box, across the goal mouth. He would be into a race with Awua, but getting on the end of it just to edge it past the line for the first goal of the night. El Medgar would level it in the 54th minute for Loudoun United with a nice header. And then, the 62nd minute, Johnny Rodriguez, a nice hooking ball by Diaz, finds Rodriguez on the break, who slips it coolly past the goalkeeper to make it 2-1. And then Reed in the 81st minute, sealing the deal, all 3 points for Oakland Roots. Loudoun falling on the road here in that 3-1 loss. Las Vegas and Detroit in a 1-1 tie, in a 1-1 draw between Detroit and Las Vegas. Detroit City took the lead out of nothing in the 39th minute when Morris picked off an errant pass and then immediately chipped Arozarena from 40 yards out. Christian Pinzon unleashed a left-footed effort from 20 yards out in the first minute of the first half stoppage time, but his effort denied by Saldana. Smart making a great cross in the second half here for Las Vegas in the 53rd minute. Then a sliding Pinzon just couldn't get enough on it, and the cross trickled out for a goal kick. Vegas had a chance to counter off of a turnover in the 64th minute, but a shot from Bennett from just inside the box was right at Saldana. And then Arozarena made a save of his own a minute later when he parried away a shot from Connor Rutz from 12 yards out. Corey Bennett coming on as a substitute, finding the equalizer here in the 66th minute when he stretched to one time and redirect cross from Grayson Duty. Malia Cowell made a point-saving tackle in the 7th minute of stoppage time when he recovered to deny a shot from Elvis Amo that was bound for a goal. The Lights, though, thought they had won the match in the 10th minute of stoppage time when Valentin Noel's header at the back post was kept out, though, by Saldana. The Lights finishing the evening 5th in the Western Conference, 32 points for 23 matches. They are just 3 points outside of second place. Bennett making it back into the score sheet. He made a huge impact as that, halftime substitute on Saturday, recording the 7th goal of the season and first since June 29th against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. He's now just one behind Noel for the team lead. And the Lights have extended their club record unbeaten streak to 11 matches, 5 wins, 6 draws. Las Vegas' streak ties the longest in the USL Championship this season. Albeit a lot more draws than wins, but still, no losses. Phoenix taking on Tampa in the last of the matches, covering out, and Phoenix Rising starting the match, tremendous energy, drawing Joshua Perez into an early yellow card by manipulating play on the outside of the pitch. This trend continuing for most of the first 45 minutes, with Rising finding the back of the net twice in a goalless half. That's right, 2 goals disallowed. Most of Rising's chances coming off, from the pace on the outside with Edgardo Rito, Juan Carlos Azucar consistently finding space behind the Tampa Bay back line. Thomas Angel was the first Rising player to split the Tampa Bay defense, playing Azucar into the box. Azucar put his head down, just curled it really nicely to the bottom right corner, but he was flagged offside by the official on the line. Yeah, he was. It was quite close, but he was offside. Second goal that was disallowed, by the way, not offside. Azucar following up his first called off goal with another, receiving the ball this time from Rito, who played it across the box and found him just beyond the 6-yard area in the 25th minute. Azucar pinged it through traffic, deflecting off the defender, and Tampa Bay goalkeeper Jordan Farr to cross the line. However, center official raising his flag, ruling that Federico Varela was blocking the goalkeeper from an offside position, and the goal waved off. I don't think he was offside. If you look at the highlights, if you look at the video package, Freddie Kleeman, number 19, was keeping Varela onside. I don't know if they were going to call obstruction of the goalkeeper. It didn't look like that. It was clearly a flag raised for offside. Bit sus right there. Could have been 1-0 for Phoenix. Excuse me. Tampa Bay, though, they had the first chance of the second half. Ortega's familiar left foot was denied at the near post by Rising goalkeeper Rocos Rios Novo, who was called into action again in the 57th minute, this time by another Ortega shot from near the penalty spot that Rios Novo parried over the net. In just 15 minutes played in the second half, Tampa Bay creating 4 shots, directing 2 on frame, and also drawing a yellow card from former Rowdy and current Phoenix Rising midfielder Charlie Dennis. Absorbing pressure early in the second half, interim head coach Diego Gomez sought to slow down Tampa Bay with a pair of substitutions in the 66th minute, replacing Varela with a more defensive central midfielder Julio Doradiotto, and then also bringing on fresh legs in the form of Gavi Torres, settled in at left outside back. Despite regaining momentum, tallying 7 shots in the final 15 minutes of the match, including a very nice Formella bicycle kick off the crossbar, Rising unable to find the back of the net before the final whistle, match ending in a 0-0 draw. 4 saves on the night for Jordan Farr, registering his 9th clean sheet of the season. In between the pipes for Tampa Bay, Danny Vitiello still has the most with 10 clean sheets, but Eric Dick and Jordan Farr tied in second place with 9 apiece. Indy 11 taking on New Mexico United. We will not cover this one due to the time difference. Won't be able to be recording on a Sunday here, August 10th. So we'll get that maybe next time in next week's episode. Let's take a look at the league table here. Starting first with the East Conference. Louisville City still on top, 50 points from 22 matches played, 57 goals scored, 27 conceded. The most goals scored out of any team in the USL Championship. They're on back-to-back wins. And yeah, with 22 matches played, they are on top of the table. Charleston, though, 24 matches played. So Lou City have 2 matches in hand against Charleston, though Charleston are only 1 point behind Louisville City. In third place, you have, with 40 points, Tampa Bay Rowdies, then tied for 4th place, Indy 11 and Birmingham Legion with 35 points apop. Rhode Island in 6th place with 32 points to the good. Detroit City with 31 points, haven't won in 8 matches. Last one was June 30th. They only have 22 games played, though. A game in hand over Rhode Island, Birmingham, Indy. Just Birmingham and Rhode Island. They have a game in hand. But they're tied with games with Loudoun United. 22 games played for Loudoun United, 30 points, good for them. North Carolina FC, 29 points for 22 matches played. Pittsburgh on form, not losing, and they find themselves at 27 points, sitting 3 points outside the playoff berth spot. Hartford Athletic losing 3-0 to Rhode Island just recently. Yeah, 22 matches played, 22 points from those 22 matches. They are 8 points out of the top 8. And Miami FC, 2 wins, 2 draws, 19 losses, only 8 points from 23 games. for them. Western side of things, New Mexico, we'll see what happens when they take on Indy 11, but right now, 20 matches played, 38 points, top of the table. Oakland Roots are tied with Sacramento. Second place, 35 points to the good for both those sides. You have Memphis with 32 points, tied with Las Vegas as well. Colorado Springs Switchbacks at the 6th spot with 31 points. Then you have Orange County, 28 points in 7th spot. And then in 8th place, just to that cutoff of the playoff side, you have Monterey Bay with 27 points. Phoenix and FC Tulsa sit 1 point behind Monterey Bay with 26 points. FC Tulsa, least amount of games played in the USL Championship with only 20. San Antonio FC, though, 21 points from 22 matches played. And you have El Paso with 16 points from 22 matches played. And they're at the bottom of the Western Conference. Looking ahead, and their match day 24 coming up here. Wednesday, August 14th, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. Miami FC will take on Memphis 901 FC. That's to be some of the midweek encounters. In addition to that, you have New Mexico United taking on FC Tulsa on Wednesday, August 14th. Both sides needed to catch up in terms of matches played, so that'll be very interesting to see how that pans out. Wednesday, August 14th, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. Then you have Sacramento Republic taking on El Paso Locomotive. Wednesday, August 14th. That's 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. Then starting off, the weekend, Friday night, Birmingham Legion taking on Detroit City FC at home. That'll be 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. Big game for both those sides. Detroit trying to get back into form. Birmingham in form at the moment and, trying to just solidify their playoff position. Hartford Athletic back at home, hosting Las Vegas this time around, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. That'll be on Saturday, August 17th. At the same time, you'll have Pittsburgh taking on Colorado. Then at 7:30 on Eastern time, you have 4:30 Pacific there. Rhode Island taking on Oakland Roots Soccer Club. Tampa Bay Rowdies will host Loudoun United at the same time, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. That'll be on Saturday. And then 8 p.m., Louisville City taking on Charleston Battery. Top two teams in the Eastern Conference go at it, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. Memphis 901 FC, though, they'll take on FC Tulsa on Saturday, August 17th at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Then a half an hour later, you have San Antonio FC taking on North Carolina FC. At the same time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. New Mexico United host Monterey Bay FC. And the final match of the weekend will be Orange County Soccer Club hosting El Paso Locomotive FC at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific on Saturday. All right, that'll do it with us here on Talk USL. Thanks for listening as always. Talk USL is everywhere podcasts are available and can be found on all social media platforms with the handle @TalkUSL. If you want to support the podcast, make sure to give a review on whatever platform you are listening to. Make sure to tell your fellow friends, family, and most importantly, fellow USL fans to give it a listen. I'd really, really appreciate it. This has been All Talk, All USL Talk. USL covering the latest scores, news, and developments in the USL Championship. Talk soon, everybody. Bye for now.